returning back to a larger number. We are absolutely providing the first doses as quickly as we can with a variety of different methods of delivery, and at the same time ensuring that we are budgeting and have availability for the second dose as the deliveries come forward. So it's planning to make sure the second doses are available. We have provided a 35-day dosing interval for between the first and the second dose for Pfizer for all but those that are over 80 and those that are living in seniors facilities, congregate care settings for seniors, as well as including long-term care homes, higher risk retirement homes, and First Nations homes for elders. All of those will maintain at the 21 to 27 day interval, but others will move to the 35 so that we have an additional 2 weeks of doses to go. But we strongly believe that 2 doses are required, and we strongly believe that 2 doses should be provided within the 42 days as have been demonstrated from the clinical trials.
Follow-up?
Doctors, 4 Public Health Ontario doctors published a study last week that predicts that the B117 variant will be dominant in the GTA before the end of February, and that there were dozens of highly probable B117 cases circulating in the GTA days or even more than a week before the first variant case was announced by public health officials on December 26th. Given this, were we too late in launching our screening and surveillance program?
Given that we were already doing some genomic sequencing or full sequencing, and we had identified the B117 before Christmas at that time, we had been sequencing the samples all since after the first wave and the second. So we had done almost 8,000 samples looking for variants all along. So I wouldn't say we were too late. We were doing it as soon as it could. That makes me ask the group who put that forward. I think it's an opinion. The data doesn't say that it was happening unless it was some other information they might have received, but our laboratory data doing our sampling did not identify it sooner, although we were looking for it. I think it's a logical conclusion as we did some sampling that we said it obviously was starting to circulate before the holiday season break, and that was identified then. As far as being the dominant strain, I believe our model already said that would be the case anyways, if not by the end of February, but well into March. As the other one drops, the variance of concern starts to increase. The B117 would be their choice of what they said might be the dominant strain. We have seen how the B135 as well, so I don't think it's a I think between the two, I think we're going to see more variants of concern, whatever the number type it is, as compared to others as it continues to come down. But even now, they don't make up a high percentage, but it's increasing, as I said in my outset. But we want to watch that as we monitor this as it goes forward. And of course, we're dealing with a number of variants noted on a smaller number of positives week over week. And so the percentage becomes a different aspect in there. So we'll watch that, and I think most of what was being communicated was similar to what we heard from our modelers already, and I think they were just adding their opinions to the matter.
Next question.
Next question comes from Chris Glover from CBC News. Chris, please go ahead.
Hi there, doctors. We have a bit of a split request coming down from Toronto, Peel, and York. Toronto and Peel asking for an extension of the current restrictions. York is asking to move into red on Monday. Given what you're seeing already with the data, what is likely to be your assessment that you'll hand over to the health minister and the premier tomorrow for them to kind of tonight to make their final assessment tomorrow? What are you thinking right now?
So in the aspects there, I think you've touched on a good point. What we do is that we look at the data. We try to do it right up to as current as we can, not just one data point, but a number of data points in there. We also look what's going on, what the trend has been in the previous 7 to 14 days to see if it's trending down, whether it's plateauing, or is it starting to go up again. But most importantly, have a talk with each one of the, in our areas of concern or change, to each of the medical officers of health to say, what is your read? How do you see it? And what's your perspective on the matter? So besides having received a letter from Toronto and Peel from Drs. Davila and Dr. Lowe, we have had a number of teleconferences with each of the three and asked them again, and what is their perspective on the matter? That's all part of it, informing our recommendations that we made preliminary to the minister earlier, and as we deal with that, final recommendations going up onto for cabinet decision tomorrow. In there. So these are a composite of different areas, and certainly the information and advice and direction of the local medical officer of health, including other aspects such as capacity, hospital issues, local outbreaks, are there major community spread? Many factors play into it that gives us a sense of not just these three you're talking about, but other ones in the province. And these are important discussions to have. So it's not just a rigid number that flips the switch. It's a combination of qualitative and quantitative information that feeds into it that gives us the best advice when we give that up to the minister and cabinet for decision making.
Follow-up?
Okay, and the other thing that we had heard from Dr. Lowe specifically was when he was looking at, you already mentioned other communities as well. We know Durham's already in the red zone. It's looking like perhaps York, given how strongly they're asking to be in red, that they might go there too. And Peel's already talking about how he's worried about spillover into Peel region, given these other communities. So what's your concern level with the fact that even if you keep Toronto and Peel in the current restrictions, that if everybody else around them is in red and is in different restriction levels, that it could kind of erode the good work that's being done by keeping Toronto and Peel in the stay-at-home?
So one of the aspects is that when we do have our updates, we make sure some other health units and medical officer health say, what are the adjacent ones? And they're quite aware of that difference. Some say they have some concern, and some say, well, I think we can handle that. The difference between the red and, if you look at the difference, the delta between the red and the stay at home to see what are the areas that might be most problematic. And they would then deal with that. If they felt it was necessary to put a 22 order in, they could do so to limit it if there was an issue. The other aspect is we've been trying to say to people in the new one, wherever you are in the framework, we'd ask people not only stay at home, but we try to say stay local. And because it's the local group in the community that by that transmission rate going down are in a certain level, whatever it is, and have these extra facilities open. But that's for the protection and the use, I think, of the local residents primarily, and who have obviously been supporting those type of retailers or services and would want to do it in a safe and careful way, maintaining the distancing, maintaining the proper protocols, as would the retailers and people that are involved in that. But they're aware of those differences, and we'll deal with those if there was issues and concerns in particular in that. And of course, we're continuing to message that if you're in the stay-at-home area, that you would stay at home. And we still say, even after you're out, stay local and use those ones in your area, but use them judiciously, not abusively, and being very, very careful, because you can go back up into lockdown fairly quickly with outbreaks. So you want to maintain that as a community type effort and to protect that on a go forward basis if you have achieved that. So it's a joint effort, everybody pulling together, and we've seen success with that. We're going to have to keep doing that until the vaccines, as they're coming in now, keep rolling out. And so we're in a bit of a time frame here to try and match those together and to deal with that. So that's the situation. So thank you for the question.
Next question.
Next question comes from Matthew Bingley from Global News. Matthew, please go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Williams. Just on continuing on what Chris was talking about with the Peel and Toronto request, I'm just wondering what further data you need to actually inform this decision that you're making. You talked about the importance of public health units and their medical officers of health, both Dr. Lowe and Dr. Davila are saying that this is what they need, and they've just released new information in Toronto that there could be as many as 341 other variants on top of the case. So why is not listening to their opinion not an option?
As I said already, listening to their opinions is very important, and that's part of the information we have. Any updated information and metrics they may want to give before the decision's made, I'm fully open to that. That's what we do it for. We have the data too. We may see some data that says, is this true? Is you got a big issue arising here? And say, no, the data was cleansed and clarified on that matter. So there's a back and forth to make sure, are we on the same page when we're looking at things the most up to date we can? So it's not an opinion gathered a week ago on closed door. It's a dynamic conversation, discussion, as I said before, because the opinions of the local medical officer of health is very important in decision making, and will continue to be.
Yeah, just on the topic of accountability, if you recommend that you are not in favor of what Peel and Toronto are requesting, and they find themselves facing another wave of COVID-19, possibly led by VOCs, and possibly another lockdown, who should ultimately be held responsible for that?
So it's very rarely that I will come to a situation where there's a strong disagreement. I think we'd have to say, here's the position, and have the discussion with the medical officer of health. I'm not talking in particular about Peel and Toronto. Could be anywhere in the province on that. I think if there is a increase in the cases suddenly, this is not a thing that MOHs locally can control. They can do their best to put it in place, so I wouldn't be blaming local MOHs. COVID is a complex disease, and the variants are moving in different ways. And so to say one has it perfectly planned out, and they know exactly what's going to happen in 2 or 3 weeks from now, I would think is best presumptive. And so we'll have to be ready and nimble, and that's why if we do anything, we'll be quick to move up and to limit things in that, and then slow to respond to come back down again. So it is a dynamic process in there. Accountability is, in the end, decision making is of course by the cabinet, but the accountability is basically looking at our data and understanding that and portraying that information material to the public so they understand what the decision making was and the reasons for it. I think Dr. Heyer has a comment to make.
Thanks, Dr. Williams. I think really valid conversation and questions, moving away from that just a little bit and recognizing and moving back to where Dr. Williams talked about as far as the framework and where the framework goes and the importance of recognizing the risk people may be taking, the situations they may be putting themselves into, the importance of understanding those that must go to work and supporting them and respecting them, but recognizing with greater variance and presence of those, there may be greater risk of transmission, and people need to be aware of that and thinking about that, and coming back to, and as hard as it is to hear, and as hard as it is to do, to stay home and stay safe and save lives, important things to think about, and remembering all of these in a context of framework, but there is everybody doing the best that they can in the times that they can, and not going out to be doing shopping that isn't for essentials, and staying home as much as possible, unless going out for reasons that are required, and to see people or to be with people where there is a significant need for those who may be living by themselves in those sorts of situations. So I think it's such a challenging environment that we're living in and we're working in right now, but important to remember again that there is risk, that there is always concern, and that we always need to be thinking about that in the best way possible, and thinking about how to protect others who don't have the as easy ability to protect themselves.
Last question.
Last question comes from Colin DeMello from CDB News. Colin, please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm asking about the risk of the variants. There are currently at least 2 outbreaks in high-rise apartment or condo buildings involving variants of concern. Yesterday, Peel's medical officer of health had said that they were investigating if transmission had occurred in elevators or hallways. How concerned are you, and how concerned should people be who live in high-rises that even a brief everyday exposure could be a source of transmission with the new variants?
Yes, we've been not only with the cluster, the potential outbreak in Peel, and we've been getting advice on that. And actually, when I was coming down to this presser, they're having a further meeting and updating on the investigations that they've carried out there to look at with the wide testing. And I would say right now the evidence is not conclusive, but we need to hear the full data. So you don't want to make conclusions until you have the full analysis undertaken.
How easy it was.
But they are continuing to analyze and look at that situation in the different types of settings where they're concerned. Part of that is with the variants of concern is that in Ontario, in Canada, I guess writ large, we want to say, what is our experience with the variants? How is it working? Whether we had the outbreak up in Barrie, or we have the one in North Bay, or we have the one now in Peel and other ones, we'll be informed by those investigations to understand how its transmission moves, how it's concerned, how it's undertaken, and what the risk factors are. So all things are possible, but we want to make sure it is certainly backed up by evidence and with full investigation before we make any conclusions. So we've appreciated all the work that Peel is doing in that regard, and what the work that the Dr. Chirico has been doing in North Bay, and also what in the past that Dr. Gardner has done in Barrie is all added to our increasing knowledge and I would say expertise and understanding how these different ones, whether the B17 or now in this case the B135, how it's moving and how it affects people in different settings. So we hope to give some report to you in the near future when we have the final analysis, and I'm sure Dr. Lowe will be making some announcements in that accordingly.
Follow up, and this is the last question.
Thank you. Dr. Avila yesterday said that she is the most concerned about COVID-19 now than she has ever been during this entire pandemic. And she suggested that the number of variants that have been identified so far might just be the tip of the iceberg. I'm wondering, Dr. Williams, if you shared that assessment.
I think there's many days where I'm trying to think of all the ones. I remember certain days in the first wave when it was really unfolding quickly. It was very concerning. It's when we see things changing and we're not really sure of how it's going to go. I wouldn't say that there's one time I'm really concerned and the others I'm not concerned. There's concerns all along when I have major outbreaks in long-term care facilities and deaths occurring with certain vulnerable populations and groups. When there's something happening,
these guys can't figure out,
as we had in the spring with the
temporary
farm workers, very concerned about that. Where's that going to go? Our concerns about travelers coming in and how we're going to handle that. So there's many concerns. So I would say there's one time when I say this is this and the rest aren't concerning. I don't think Dr. Dillon was meaning that either. I think this is the moment because of the variants of concern and their presence. Where is that going to go? Because both Toronto and Peel
we don't know how
are our most urban dense areas in the province. And because of the transmissibility and closeness, she wants to be concerned that she's on top of that and keeps the limitations as best she can to keep it under control, because after all, she's
2 meters wide or less.
Population,
you don't live with the people you're getting on with.
So I can understand her level of concern, same as it's my level of concern too. But there's other health things in smaller areas, including sometimes remote First Nations. I'm very concerned about there's an outbreak there because the remoteness from healthcare and services, it would be very upsetting. And that's why I'm glad that the immunization, the vaccination program with remote immunity is taking place as quickly as we can. So there's many areas of concern that I have, not just, I know Dr. Villa's concentration is Toronto. Mine is Ontario-wide, and each jurisdiction has its own area where I'm concerned about that could be implosive and problematic, especially with these new areas of variants of concern. So I comprehend her concern, and I think by that it means focus and concentration and doing all we can to deal with not only the concern, but to take actions and steps to manage that.
Thanks, everyone.
Not only the
You've been listening to the daily update from provincial health authorities. Ontario identifying 359 variant cases in total, 40 more than Tuesday. Dr. Williams says the new strains don't make up a high percentage of the total, but they're increasing rapidly. Full coverage starts now.
Toronto's #1 breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, February 18th. I'm Jana Timintic.
And I'm James Monroe. Here's what's making news right now.
Our second winter weather wallop this week alone is upon us.
Through this evening and into Friday morning.
Snow and wind hitting the hardest along the lakeshore in the western GTA.
Toronto police say a teenage boy is facing multiple charges in connection with last week's shooting in North York that left a 14-year-old girl with life-altering injuries.
The latest numbers show between April and June, Canada is due to receive around 23 million doses of COVID vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna, which is 5 million more than first projected.
It's official. City Council sets the property tax rate for 2021. The average Toronto household will be paying an additional $69 this year. The Leafs and the Raptors are both in action tonight, and the Blue Jays will begin the year in the Sunshine State. Sports at 45.
Half an hour left in the trading day. The TSX drifting lower. It's down 82 points. And a Bitcoin ETF launching on Bay Street. Business at 50.
Traffic and weather together. Here is Carrie Brunskis.
This report is brought to you by OntarioTravelClinics.com. We have a treacherous drive on a number of routes across the GTA with this heavy snow in some spots. Natasha's standing by with more details on the forecast. Now, in the meantime, we have a lot of problems as well. Westbound on the QEW approaching Dorval. The HOB lane is blocked because of a collision. Traffic is jammed on the westbound QEW from Ford Drive to approaching Dorval. Eastbound on the 401, we just had a problem clear east of Jean Snow Parkway, but it's still very heavy from east of Guelph line. And then generally, we're looking at delays across the city on the 401 in both directions between the 427 and Scarborough. And we still have this problem in the east end, eastbound 401, east of Whites in the Express. The right lane is blocked because of a collision. A heavy backup from east of Port Union in the Express mainly. The collector lanes are busy, but moving better. On city streets, northbound Avenue Road approaching St. Clair, drivers cannot get up the hill. They're just stuck slipping around. We've had a number of calls from traffic spotters. So a heavy backup northbound Avenue from DuPont to St. Clair. Avoid that stretch. And also last we heard from traffic spotters, the lights were malfunctioning at Davenport and DuPont. Davenport traffic, the lights were stuck on red. And then DuPont, they're stuck on green. So expect delays there as well. For quick private PCR COVID-19 testing in the GTA, call the Ontario Travel and Immunization Clinics at 905-828-6000. That's 905-828-6000. And now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsa. Hi. Yeah, Carrie. So it really depends on where that snow squall is, right? The one that's coming in off of Lake Ontario. Right now, the heaviest has been parked over the east end of the GTA, North York, over towards Scarborough and Pickering. But it is going to wiggle back through downtown and then over to the west end. And it's likely going to sit over Oakville, Mississauga, pushing that snow up towards South Etobicoke and Milton overnight tonight. So the worst is...
Hit something. Just go right through the intersection, bro. I won't tell nobody. The damn rock. Why is there a rock in the friggin'... I don't need to do it.
This is 680 News.
Happening now, as you just heard from Natasha, Toronto and western parts of the GTA getting another wallop of winter. The snow we're getting now expected to stay with us well into the evening hours.
680's Mark Douglas is on the roads in Mississauga and joins us live. The latest, Mark.
Conditions are just varying so extremely this afternoon, James. There was a whiteout condition on the QEW at Winston Churchill around noon. Just a few moments ago, I was almost seeing the sun come out. Jeff Coulson from Environment Canada says this storm was always going to hit different areas in different ways.
Some folks could be looking at local accumulations of 10 to 15 centimeters. Other areas somewhat less than that, depending on what the winds do. But any way you slice it, we will be adding to those snowfall totals for the month.
It depends.
says
a
before
guess.
this system
But
came
then, you know,
for this
like you
month,
usually
we
do.
were only up to about 25 centimeters of snow. Last February got 53 centimeters of snow falling on the GTA. City of Toronto plows will do the expressways first and your local street last, says spokesperson
Thanks.
Eric Holmes. They need 8 centimeters of snow and an end to the snowfall before the plows get to the little streets. Now, Holmes is asking all the homeowners and business owners out there to please plan on getting up early tomorrow to shovel off the sidewalks, and bylaw teams will be out keeping an eye on some private plow operators who have been undoing all the hard work of the city's 1,500 snow clearing workers.
They'll make the roadway safe. They'll make the sidewalks safe for people, pedestrians, cyclists, drivers. To have snow pushed back into the road creates another dangerous situation, and you know, we just can't can't have that.
The snowfall is going to last into Friday morning at least, even if there's a lull right now. It's coming back overnight and this evening. Colson says if there's any upside to this system, it's that the deep, deep cold is over and things are going to be warming back up to seasonal. Reporting live near the QEW in Mississauga, I'm Mark Douglas.
This is 680 News. A 17-year-old boy is facing several gun-related charges in connection with the shooting of a 14-year-old girl in North York last Friday. Based on the level of the counts against him, it appears investigators might believe the shooting was accidental. Among the charges, careless storage of a firearm, reckless discharge of a firearm, aggravated assault, and criminal negligence causing bodily harm. It appears that the teen has been in trouble before with the law, since he is also charged with 2 counts of failing to comply with a release order. The 14-year-old victim was shot in the head while inside an apartment on the Stone Court near Jane. Police say she is in hospital, stabilized, and is expected to survive. However, she has suffered life-altering injuries.
On the COVID watch, the province's top doctor says personal precautions like masking and distancing remain vital. As the province reports an increase in completed COVID tests as well as an increase in new cases, the weekly average continues to drop, with the majority of cases still in Toronto, Peel, and York. The health minister says the decision on what happens will be announced tomorrow. Toronto and Peel are requesting reopening be delayed by at least another 2 weeks. York is now asking to be moved into the red control zone. York Region's medical officer of health says they're keeping a close eye on variants, but so far they're under control.
And we're not seeing any explosive growth. At this point in time, we have about 270 variants, of whom about 70 are active. The remainder have recovered.
Ontario's chief medical officer of health says his team will go over the data tonight, make a decision for Toronto, Peel, and York tomorrow.
Federal officials say Canada remains on schedule to receive 6 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine by the end of March, and vaccine deliveries are expected to be greater than first anticipated by the time we reach the end of June. 680's Phil Martino joins us live with the latest on this, including a possibly significant increase in vaccinations in the months ahead. Phil.
So, Jana, the latest forecast shows we're getting around 5 million more doses than expected from our 2 approved shots in the second quarter, and that number could jump if the AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and Novavax candidates are approved. So, depending on those approvals, the new estimate is between 14.5 to 24.5 million Canadians could be vaccinated by the end of June. Canada's Deputy Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Howard New, says that less than 1% of the population has received the 2 doses called for by Pfizer and Moderna, the 2 vaccines that have been approved for use in Canada.
As of today, more than 1,329,036 doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in Canada. As of last Saturday, 2.7% of Canadians had received at least 1 dose of vaccine, and 0.8% had received 2 doses.
Dr. New says we can't let our guard down and must remain steadfast in following public health measures. Phil Martino, 680 News.
Gas prices are next.
This is 680 News.
It's like $1 go fuck yourself per liter or something.
Welcome to Good News, brought to you by Honda. At the Dream Garage event, you can lease a 2021 CRV LX from a new lower payment of just $82 weekly at 2.99% and 0 down, including the $500 Honda bonus. Or don't pay for 90 days, but you finance. We hope you enjoyed Good News from Honda. I know I did. Includes freight and fees for 60 months, taxes extra, OEC. Some conditions apply. Appointments may be required in select markets. Start shopping at HondaOntario.com.
Now, the 680 News gas price update. MPRO predicting the price will increase 2 cents at midnight to just under $1.23 a liter. Traffic and weather together next.
Did it go up 3 cents yesterday?
Alpine Credits. Hi, I need a debt consolidation loan. Yes, I do. You're a clown. Yeah, and people don't take me seriously. Well, I do. Do you own your own home? I sure really do.
So that was the province, so the city is next?
Approved.
Is that what I'm going to understand?
Huge relief.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Even if your name is Bobo, knick-knack, sparkles, or your nose does this. Alpine Credits.
District license 12616.
Hi, my name's Marilla. I'm not just the voice of the monitoring center, but also the sales manager. Over the past 20 years, we have helped build one of the most successful alarm companies in the industry. The monitoring center is built upon morals, fairness, and efficiencies, delivering the lowest monthly fees to our customers. Think security, think the monitoring center. Why? Because we care.
1-866-24-7 for $9.99. 1-866-24-7 for $9.99.
680 News Time, 3:41.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Preskis. This report is brought to you by Casper. Just a brutal drive on a number of routes across the GTA, especially on the 401 through North York and into the Durham region as well. Lots of snow falling in that area. And I just had a call from a traffic spotter eastbound on the 401 east of Leslie in the Express. The left lane is now blocked because of a collision, so that's adding to delays that we already have on the eastbound 401. It's essentially slow going anywhere from the 427 to Kennedy, alternately Express and Collectors. The collision eastbound 401 east of White's in the Express, that just cleared away, but traffic is jammed from Port Union in the Express. It's busy in the Collectors, but the Collectors are moving along a little bit better. Westbound on the 401, we had a brief problem on the Collector rail to the northbound 400, so that's why it's so jammed on the westbound 401 from the Allen to the 400 Express and Collectors. A little bit heavier in the Collector lanes through there, but generally speaking, you'll find delays across the city entirely on the westbound 401. Westbound on the Gardner, that's heavy from the DVP to west of Strawn, and slow going on the westbound QEW as you approach Dixie to Mississauga Road. Then we have a problem on the westbound QEW approaching Dorval. The HOV and left lane are blocked because of a collision. It's packed from Ford Drive. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, incredibly slow from the Gardner all the way up to York Mills. And on city streets, northbound Avenue Road approaching St. Clair, drivers cannot get up the hill. It's too slippery, so a heavy backup from DuPont. It's time to reset your rest with Casper and get the sleep you deserve. Shop Casper's winter sale and enjoy up to 15% off. Visit casper.ca for details. Now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsa. Hi.
All right, Carrie, heaviest snow right now through the east end, North York over towards Scarborough and Pickering. And that band, which is coming in off of Lake Ontario, will swing back through downtown Toronto and then lock itself in over the west end right through the night tonight. So unfortunately, Mississauga, Milton, Oakville, you've got the worst yet to come. That's when you'll pick up the majority of your 10 to 15 centimeters is tonight. Even into tomorrow morning, leave some extra time for that commute. We'll likely have another couple of centimeters before we get the sunny breaks late in the day and shut off that snow. Friday's high -2, and then a mix of sun and clouds Saturday. Could see some morning flurries with a high of -3. Overnight tonight, temperatures dropping to -6, wind chill -12. Take care on the roads out there. Again, this is going to be ongoing through the night. It is currently -3 degrees at Pearson.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute to the Business Center. Here's Richard Southern.
17 minutes left in the trading day. Slogana, and the TSX is down. It's falling 92 points right now. On Wall Street, the Dow's down 83. The S&P 500 falls 1/3%, and the Nasdaq's down 69 points. Walmart's down 6% at $138 on an earnings miss. Canadian dollar trades higher at 78.82 cents US. That's your Market Minute. This is 680 News.
When it comes to investing, it's time to consider the alternatives. Dynamic Funds sees diversification differently. Ask a financial advisor how and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
Stay one step ahead of the competition with 680 News.
I'm Steve Friedman from the Chesterfield Shop. We've been in business since 1948 and have 5 locations in and around the GTA selling contemporary leather and fabric seating. The Chesterfield Shop has been advertising for over 10 years with 680 News. We are growing our ad dollars with them because the ads are most effective. People, they like us, they trust us, but we know we have to keep a fresh face out there so that they'll come in and they'll see what's exciting at the Chesterfield Shop.
Why choose 680 News?
When there's so many different options and opportunities in different media, we find that radio and 680 News in particular are very effective for us in getting across our message.
And 680 News helps you reach the customers you're looking for?
680 News absolutely brings in the right demographic for us. People who listen to the ads, they're invested in beautifying their homes and enhancing their lifestyle, and we think that it's a perfect match.
Get 680 News working for you. Visit 680ads.com. That's 680ads.com.
Toronto's news now. This is 680 News.
Light flurries in downtown Toronto now. We're at -3 degrees, a wind chill reading of -9. Good afternoon. I'm Sljana Tominzik.
And I'm James Monroe. Here's what's making news right now.
A winter weather travel advisory remains in effect for the city of Toronto and western parts of the GTA. The snowfall will stay with us through the evening and into tomorrow morning. A 17-year-old boy now facing multiple charges, including reckless discharge of a firearm and failing to comply with a release order in connection with the North York shooting that left a 14-year-old girl with life-altering injuries. The province's top doctor says personal precautions like masking and distancing remain vital as the province reports an increase in completed COVID tests as well as an increase in new cases. A decision is expected tomorrow on whether lockdown measures will be lifted in Toronto, Peel, and York regions.
Time now for 680 Sports.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, here's Alex Xero.
Sljana, Chris Johnston suggesting we could see the Leafs rest a few veterans for tonight's game against the Ottawa Senators. Johnston noting that Zach Bogosian is a candidate. He's played in all 17 games so far this season.
L'objectif de ce projet de loi est également de lutter contre le racisme systémique dans le système pénal. Rappelons que les communautés noires et autochtones sont encore surreprésentées dans les prisons canadiennes. On en parle avec Sandhya Vadlamoudi, directrice générale de l'Association des intervenants en dépendance du Québec. Madame Vadlamoudi, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Comment concrètement un assouplissement du code criminel peut-il venir en aide aux personnes en situation de dépendance?
Écoutez, les amendements qui sont proposés par le projet de loi aujourd'hui sont globalement bienvenus par des associations comme la nôtre. Elles proposent en fait des moyens comme retirer les sentences minimum, comme également améliorer l'accès à des mesures alternatives de justice. Donc, ce sont tous des éléments pour lesquels on peut en fait applaudir et qu'on souhaitait voir venir depuis plusieurs années. Par contre, ce projet fait aussi chaud blanc sur plusieurs aspects que l'on trouve fondamentaux. Le gouvernement dépose en fait une politique basée sur la santé et les droits humains. Par contre, il choisit délibérément, dans le fond, de ne pas aborder la question de la décriminalisation là, comme telle de la possession simple. Donc, dans le projet qui est déposé, on rend un peu discrétionnaire de cette manière-là les impacts positifs recherchés en termes de diminution de la stigmatisation et de lutte au racisme systémique. Parce que dans le cadre de ce qui est proposé, la possession simple demeure criminelle, ce qui implique que la menace d'être surveillé, d'être interrogé, d'être détenu, poursuivi et d'en vivre les conséquences sur sa vie demeure complètement entière.
Le but de cette politique est également de viser une baisse du taux d'incarcération. Comment favoriser des solutions de rechange à l'incarcération?
Déjà, c'est sûr que, nous, on pense que la décriminalisation pure de la possession simple serait un des meilleurs moyens là, pour diminuer le nombre de personnes incarcérées. Au Canada, l'année dernière, il y avait 70 000 arrestations qui étaient liées aux drogues. 70 000 liées aux drogues. Et je m'excuse, c'est pas l'an dernier, c'est en 2010.
care and emergency housing, but that was defeated. I'm Oman Qureshi.
This is 680 News. It's the end of the line for national sports. Canadian Tire says it's closing all 18 national sports locations in southern Ontario in order to reduce overlap in the company's sporting goods offerings. The company says the difficult
simple pour l'usage personnel, qui a quand même une incidence importante. Le projet qui est déposé aujourd'hui, en fait, aborde les mesures de déjudiciarisation et le fait à partir de certains principes qui, à notre avis, méritent vraiment d'être questionnés et d'être éclaircis pour bien rejoindre des objectifs qui sont visés en termes de santé et de droits humains. On parle dans ces principes-là, par exemple, de consommation problématique. Mais dans ce cadre-là, qu'est-ce qu'une consommation problématique? Comment va-t-on la baliser? Et est-ce qu'il est également admis qu'une consommation récréative existe? Pour nous, c'est quand même un enjeu fondamental à déterminer. On veut déployer, dans le fond, un projet qui est basé sur la protection de la santé, la dignité, mais ça passe par une reconnaissance que la consommation personnelle n'est pas criminelle. Mais comment peut-on relier les deux s'il y a des sanctions pénales qui sont quand même possibles?
Ouais.
Donc, il y a une certaine incompatibilité et même le projet le nomme que ce n'est pas compatible d'associer des sanctions pénales avec les données probantes qui démontrent que c'est par des actions tout autres que l'on peut agir sur la diminution de la stigmatisation et travailler à éliminer le racisme systémique.
Madame Badlamoudi, quelles sont les meilleures méthodes pour traiter la dépendance comme un problème de santé et non pas comme un problème de sécurité publique?
On peut d'une part envisager en fait tout ce qui est relié à l'approche de réduction des méfaits ou des risques.
This report is brought to you by City TV. I'm looking at a crash on the eastbound 403 approaching Erin Mills. Right now, the two right lanes are blocked. We have a transport truck involved here, and the ramp going to Erin Mills, left lane blocked here. Watch out for debris. And heavy backup already on the eastbound 403, jammed from Winston Churchill to Erin Mills, and that backup is only going to get worse. It's really tough to even see where you're driving here because the road is still so snow-covered, very sloppy. Westbound traffic on the 403, quite busy in this area as well. We also have a number of other problems. Westbound QEW approaching Dorval, the HOV and left lane are blocked because of a collision. It's jam-packed from approaching Ford Drive. Eastbound on the 401, watch out for debris east of Bayview and the Express in the left lane, and then eastbound 401 approaching Leslie in the Express, the left lane blocked, all due to a collision. So delays on the eastbound 401. First of all, it's very heavy from east of Guelph line to the 407, then a slow go anywhere from the 427 to, into Pickering. Alternately, Express and Collectors. Actually looks like it's slow going all the way into Ajax now. We had an earlier issue east of White's in the Express, but getting really, really jammed up, especially from east of the 400 to approaching Leslie in both the Express and Collectors. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, heavy traffic from the Gardner all the way up to the 401. If you're traveling the westbound 401, busy across the city. Delays starting around Pickering from Port Union, alternately Express and Collectors. It's especially slow through North York. And then typical volume heading into Mississauga. Friday on BT, hockey legend Grant Fuhr. Plus country music superstar Tim Hicks talks new music. Watch BT weekdays at 6 a.m. on City TV. Now with the forecast, here's Natasha.
All right, so I just posted a video in case you want some more details on what's coming here on Twitter at City Natasha. And of course, they've just extended that winter weather travel advisory in towards Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. Okay, so now included because that band is really targeting the east end now, but it's going to sink back down to the west this evening, lock in over the west end, and that's when the majority of the 10 to 15 centimeters for especially Mississauga, Milton, and Oakville will fall. Overnight, about 5 to 10 for Toronto, down to a low of -6, and And still slow going for the morning commute as flurries continue another couple of centimeters. It'll dry out through the afternoon and -2. And then Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, -3. It'll be a sunny Sunday and -4. Tonight down to a low of -6 degrees. It is currently -3, wind chill -9 at Pearson.
This extended forecast is brought to you by SMEG. Save 15% on SMEG major appliances and create stunning and unique additions to your kitchen. Visit your premium appliance retailer or ELA.ca.
Happening now, the NASA rover Perseverance appears to be just moments away from landing on Mars. The Live to 680's Richard Southern is keeping an eye on the landing. Richard.
But this is very exciting, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I see you watching. Something bad's going to happen.
It is fascinating. We're likening it, though, to the NORAD tracking of Santa, but it is pretty cool.
Yeah, because we don't have any live video, but NASA knows exactly what's going on and what's happening right now. The parachute has been deployed and it's already been cut away. The rover is now descending to the Martian surface using rockets. They have what they call a sky crane, a rocket-powered crane that the rover is attached to. That crane is now slowly lowering the rover to the surface. So everything right now is happening as NASA expected. This is, of course, the most sophisticated rover ever sent to the Martian surface. It has 23 cameras. It even has a microphone. We're going to get audio at some point, maybe not today, but we'll get audio of this landing. And that will be something to listen to. Let's take a live listen in here to NASA TV as they describe this rover coming down to the Martian surface right now. Not much talking this one.
Shooting signals from tomorrow.
Very close to landing, it appears.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on
Okay, so live on 680 News, you're hearing it. The touchdown has been confirmed.
At this point, the defense state has formalized their spaceship search. Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through Mazatlan orbiter to Earth.
And there it is, NASA back on the surface of Mars, live the rover with a safe touchdown. So that's quite something. Not an easy feat to land a rover on Mars. Not a cheap feat either. The Perseverance rover costing $2.7 billion US, of which $2.2 billion was for the spacecraft development, $243 million for the launch, and about $300 million for the scientific operation. What this thing is going to do is literally look for signs of ancient life. They're landing this in Jezero Crater, which they know is an ancient lake, and so it's going to look for microscopic or other forms of ancient life. It's also going to collect rock samples, seal them in tubes, and then leave them for a future mission to blast back to Earth. So very exciting. And again,
you just collect them at that
time. And much like the rover, I'm afraid stocks are coming back down to terra firma. We're coming up here on the end of the trading day with TSX right now, down 104 points to 18,269 on Wall Street. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 121 points, 31,491. S&P's down 17. The Nasdaq's down 70, make that 97 points. So it's a down day for stocks here, as traders eye some disappointing economic news on U.S. jobless claims. A first of its kind on base trade, an exchange-traded fund that tracks Bitcoin has been launched. The Bitcoin ETF on Base Street. It is called the Purpose Bitcoin ETF. It trades under the symbol BTCC.B, and right now that's a little bit lower. It is down about 1/3%. The price for Bitcoin is trading around $50,000 US. Canadian dollar is moving higher. It's at 78.87 cents US. Top stories coming up, including the latest on the successful Mars rover touchdown. This is 680 News.
I'm here in the Visions Electronics warehouse, and man, we're full to the brim, top to bottom. So we're reducing prices on everything. TVs to home theater, appliances to headphones. It's the inventory sell-off at Visions Electronics, and we're marking everything down up to 70% off. Plus, take up to 36 months to pay interest-free. Your best price guaranteed, and a bonus 2-year warranty on premium TVs. And also, I shouldn't be operating this forklift. Sorry.
See the flyer at visions.ca.
People always ask me, how do you get those dishes so clean? Our dishwasher just doesn't seem to be doing the trick anymore. I say, what are you talking about? We're Cable Monkey. Cable Monkey offers high-quality installation, maintenance, and repair services focused on your IT infrastructure. Structured cabling, Wi-Fi, camera systems, whatever you need, Cable Monkey has you covered. Higher quality, less expense, and no headaches. Cable Monkey. We build and maintain quality IT infrastructure. We don't do dishes. Get your free quote today at cablemonkey.org.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
Walmart is the #1 place to save money on groceries. Save $1.70 per pound of red or green seedless grapes. Now only $1.27 per pound at Walmart. In Markham, partly cloudy, -6 degrees. Mississauga, overcast, and -5. Downtown Toronto, some light snow. -3 degrees and a wind chill rating of -9. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 4 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
Good afternoon. It is Thursday, February 18th. I'm James Monroe.
I'm Sljana Tominzik. Here are the top stories right now.
July, moments ago.
Headcount confirmed. The traditional safely on the surface of Mars. Ready to begin seeking the sands of half-life.
4 seconds away.
Our second winter weather wallop this week alone is upon us.
Through this evening and into Friday morning.
Snow and wind hitting the hardest along the lakeshore in the western GTA.
Traffic alert problems eastbound on the 403 at Erin Mills. 3 lanes are blocked, including a partial blockage of the ramp to Erin Mills. Traffic and weather just seconds away.
The Blue Jays will call Dunedin home for the time being. The Leafs and Senators rematch in Toronto. Raptors and Bucks rematch in Milwaukee. Sports at 15.
There's the closing bell. It's a money loser. The Dow falls 118 points. The TSX with a triple-digit loss as well. Business at 26.
680 News time 401.
Traffic and weather together. Here's Carly.
This report is brought to you by Markville Toyota. So it's definitely one of those days where if you don't have to drive, don't do it. Stay home. But we have tons of problems going on right now caused by the weather. If you're westbound on the 401, new issue approaching Morningside in the collectors. Looks like there's a collision there. We'll figure out exactly which lanes are blocked. But in the meantime, collectors moving very slow from Meadowvale up to approaching Morningside on the west 401.
Center lane. That's the second from the right.
I mean the second from the left.
I swear to God.
By the MTO, and on the right shoulder, a stalled transport truck. So that's adding to delays from approaching Markham Road and the Express to just west of there. Then the 401 is moving really slow on the westbound side from Pickering to the 427, alternately Express collectors. Then Hurontario Express Mavis collectors to approaching Mississauga Road. And it looks like we have a new problem as well approaching Guelph Line. Looks like a crash there. So that's causing a heavy backup from the 407. Eastbound on the 401, we have volume pretty much from Highway 25 on and off all the way out to Kennedy. It's just moving really slow. You can expect delays through that whole stretch. Then east of Bayview in the Express, we have a collision in the left lane. MTO's on scene. It's causing a really heavy backup from the 427, alternately Express collectors. And at Meadowvale in the collectors, it's really heavy from in the collectors there, and then from Port Union Express out to the 412. The eastbound King Road ramp to the northbound 400, we have a stalled transport on that right shoulder. Be careful. We also have issues on the West Gardner QEW combo, just delays on the Gardner DVP to west of Strawn, but once you're on the West QE, approaching Door Valley, the HOV lane blocked with a collision, and that is causing a delay from west of Winston Churchill. If you are traveling on the eastbound 403, approaching Erin Mills Parkway, a right lane blocked with a collision now, delays from Winston Churchill. That ramp to Erin Mills also has a left lane blocked with a crash, and lots of traffic spotters calling today about northbound Avenue Road approaching St. Clair. There's that big hill there, and vehicles are just not able to get up the hill, so that's causing a delay from DuPont. Join the Markville Toyota family in the heart of Markham and lease or finance from as low as 0% on select models. It's time to Toyota. Visit markville.com. And now with a look at the forecast, Natasha Ramsahai.
All right, Carling, this is the lake effect snow that's been coming in off of Lake Ontario. So depending on where it is targeting, that's who's getting the heavy snow. And right now it's the East End winter weather travel advisory extended to include Pickering, Oshawa, and Whitby. And then that band will sink back to Toronto and lock in over the West End overnight tonight and late this this evening. So 10 to 15 centimeters for the west end possible. East end will get about 5 and Toronto 5 to 10. Tomorrow morning, another couple of centimeters. We'll wake up to -6. And finally, by the afternoon, we'll shut off that snow, mainly cloudy and a high of -2. Overnight tonight, down to a low of -6 degrees. It is currently -3, wind chill -9 at Pearson.
680 News Time, 4:04.
Well, we don't say this very often, but we have breaking news from Mars. NASA's latest rover has successfully touched down on the red planet moments ago, beginning a mission to search for possible life on our celestial neighbor.
680's Richard Southern is following the story and joins us live with some details. Richard.
Boy, 680 News really is everywhere today, Slajana. Indeed, the most sophisticated rover ever sent to Mars just made a touchdown, a perfect touchdown on the Martian surface, and the control room at NASA went bananas. Take a listen.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of top life.
By all accounts, a perfect touchdown. We're also now getting in the very first photos, just a small black and white photo from this rover to let us know it's okay. We're going to put this picture on our website at 680news.com and on our 680 News Instagram page as well. But it shows, a few rocks in front of this rover. It looks like a nice sunny day on Mars because the Perseverance rover can see its shadow. This is a rover that's going to look for ancient signs of life in what is an ancient lake on Mars. It has 23 cameras, this rover, including a microphone. So we're hoping to get some audio of the touchdown to play you at some point soon. But NASA back on Mars with a successful landing this afternoon. Reporting live, Richard Southern, 680 News.
Happening now, that winter weather travel advisory remains in place for the city of Toronto, parts of the GTA. The snow may get heavier as we move into the evening hours, depending on where you are. 680's Mark Douglas joins us live with the latest from the roads. Mark.
James, I saw nearly whiteout conditions on parts of the QEW around the noon hour, and now it's mid-afternoon, and I'm almost seeing the sun come out. But as we hear from 680 meteorologist Natasha Ramsahai, don't let a shifting snow band fool you.
It's going to be wiggling between Toronto and Burlington right through the night tonight. It also is going to intensify because temps drop a couple of degrees and the wind is going to pick up. We'll have gusts up to 40 kilometers per hour. The stronger the wind, the further inland that this lake effect snow can be blown.
Hardest hit areas along the shoreline in Toronto and the western GTA could get 15, maybe 20 centimeters. City of Toronto spokesperson Eric Holmes says they were getting ready for this storm, even as this week's earlier storm was hitting us. Expressways are getting the plows first. He says local streets have to come last after 8 centimeters of snow has fallen and the snowfall has stopped. He says if people are wanting to help out, business owners and homeowners should plan to get up early to shovel off their sidewalks. And as for how not to help,
a number of private contractors had pushed snow into the bike lane, into the roadway. That's extremely dangerous.
The home says we just can't have that, so my law enforcement teams are out on the streets keeping watch. Reporting live near the QEW in Mississauga, I'm Mark Douglas.
This is 680 News. The province's COVID-19 hot zones are set to find out tomorrow whether they'll be moving out of stay-at-home orders. 680's Alex Bloomfield joins us live now with the latest from provincial health officials. Alex.
Yes, Lejana, the latest to weigh in. York's chief medical officer, who with the support of York Regional Council is recommending the stay-at-home order be lifted in that region on Monday.
We feel that we are in a position now to be entering the red zone.
That's Dr. Kareem Kurji, who says York has actually seen its amount of active variants of concern decline in recent weeks after a couple of large outbreaks, and he believes it's time for all businesses to be able to open cautiously. Now, that is, of course, opposing what has been said in Toronto and Peel from Dr. Eileen Davila and Dr. Lawrence Lowe, who wrote a letter to the province asking Dr. David Williams to recommend to Cabinet that those two regions remain in the provincial shutdown and under the stay-at-home order for at least a couple of weeks. Now, Dr. Williams, just providing an update in the last hour, asked directly if there was a situation where he might disagree with the advice from the local medical officers.
It's very rarely that I will come to a situation where there's a strong disagreement. I think we'd have to say, here's the position, and have a discussion with the medical officer of health
So not saying outright that necessarily that will be the decision that Cabinet will come to tomorrow. Ultimately, it does lie with the Ford government cabinet as to what zone, if any, these two regions, Toronto appeal will go to come Monday. 359 variants of concern reported now province-wide in Ontario. 87% of those are not related to community spread, so outbreak or close contact travel related. Reporting live from Alex Woodfield.
Meanwhile, federal health officials say new estimates show Canada will be getting more COVID vaccines than first expected. 6 Cities Phil Martino joins us live. Phil.
James, latest vaccination forecast shows Canada is in line to receive around 5 million more vaccines than first anticipated for the second quarter. Major General Danny Fortin, heads the federal vaccine distribution program, says more approved shots are coming from Pfizer and Moderna.
Expecting to receive 23 million doses from Pfizer and Moderna in April and June.
We have a feeling it's going to show up, eventually.
The federal government also has 3 potential vaccines waiting in the wings if the AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and Novavax vaccines are approved by Health Canada. Officials predict by the end of June we could see between 14.5 to 24.5 million Canadians vaccinated. Phil Martino, 680 News.
Your news right now. The information you need before and after COVID-19. This is 680 News.
Since the dawn of time, humans have been pursuing food. First in open plains and lush forests, and later in the crowded aisles of grocery stores. Today, that pursuit is over. With good food, you can get delicious, ready-to-cook meals like caramelized onion baked cheese tortellini delivered right to your home. Because some things are better left in the past. Good food, eating evolved. Visit makegoodfood.ca.
Is there no city update today?
Now 680 News, gas price update. Enpro predicts the price will rise another 2 cents at midnight.
If life is a journey, we can help you enjoy the ride. Volvo of Unionville, a proud member of the A1 group of dealerships, has been a driving force in Markham for 18 years. We offer you the selection and service we want for ourselves. By treating you like our own, we can put you in the right vehicle at the right time. Come explore the safety features of Volvo XC60. We're not just here for you, we are you. Visit us today at VolvoUnionville.com.
Everybody's looking for a change right now, dreaming of being able to pay for upgrades or renovations without taking on that financial burden. Just think about it. We renovated 3 years ago, but it still feels like there's a million things I'd like to do today. A Flexi line by Capital Direct allows you to manage your resources more effectively. Whether you could use $50,000 or $1.5 million, that cash is available to you. Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL. CapitalDirect.ca.
680 News Time, 411.
Traffic and weather together on the ones, Carolyn Donahue.
This report is brought to you by the Toronto Star. It is very snowy, and we're dealing with some dangerous road conditions, so just make sure that you're prepared for that if you head out the door. We have tons of problems right now on the 401. On the westbound side, approaching Morningside and the Collectors. Looks like we have a collision there, so it's causing a delay from Meadowvale Collectors. West of Markham Road and the Express, we do have the right shoulder and right lane blocked with a stalled transport truck. That's causing heavy backup from approaching Markham Road and the Express. It's really busy Kennedy to the 427, Mavis to approaching Mississauga Road, and then we have issues approaching Guelph Line. A collision there, that's causing a delay from Trafalgar. On the eastbound 401, it's slow going from Highway 25 to Trafalgar, then east to Bayview in the Express. We have a left lane blocked with a crash. That's causing a delay 427 out to east to Bayview, alternately Express Collectors. Then it's slow around Kennedy, between the DVP and Kennedy and the Collectors, and from Meadowvale out to Brock Street in Collector and Express. Northbound DVP jammed from the Gardner to York Mills. And if you are on the westbound QEW, approaching Dorval, that collision is cleared. We're still seeing delays through that stretch, though. It is really slow going right now on the eastbound 403. However, that collision approaching Erin Mills has just cleared. We still have delays from approaching Dundas to approaching Erin Mills, and that ramp to Erin Mills still has a left lane blocked for that collision. Don't miss the new revelations and the shocking and still unsolved murders of Barry and Honey Sherman this week exclusively on thestar.com. With a look at the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsahide.
Well, our lake effect snow event has been targeting the eastern sections of the GTA. So Pickering, Whitby, and Oshawa added into the winter weather travel advisory. The good news is it's starting to weaken a little bit there, but it's going to pick up in intensity again and then shift back to the west end. So Milton, Mississauga, Etobicoke, the heaviest is yet to come. It's going to be a steady snow, especially Toronto westward tonight. And even tomorrow morning, a couple more centimeters. So both commutes tonight and tomorrow morning are going to be tricky. -6 is your wake-up temperature, and you'll be waking up to 10 to 15 centimeters through the west end, about 5 to 10 for Toronto, and then we'll taper it off in the afternoon with a high of -2. Saturday, a pretty dry mix of sun and cloud and -3. Could see just a couple of flurries in the morning. Overnight tonight, we're down to a low of -6 degrees. Right now, it's -4, wind chill -9 at Pearson.
Now the Dynamic Funds market minute, Richie.
James TSX closed lower, down 100 points even at 18,274. The Dow fell 119 to finish out the Thursday trade at 31,493. The Nasdaq down 100 points, down day all around for equities. Canadian dollar moving higher. It's at 78.84 cents US. This is 680 News.
We're all rethinking risk these days. Your investments should be no exception. A financial advisor can help you build a resilient portfolio. Learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
During the Only Adventure sales event, find exceptional limited-time offers on Land Rover vehicles, including the legendary Defender, the dynamic Range Rover Sport, or the versatile Discovery Sport. Each one offers unrivaled performance on road and off. For a limited time, receive finance rates as low as 0% or savings up to $5,000 on select 2020 vehicles. Book your safe, contactless appointment today at your local Land Rover authorized retailer. Hurry, offers end March 1st. Land Rover, above and beyond.
How do you know when someone's having Spice Face from McDonald's? Just look for those sweet tears of joy that can only come with the new spicy Szechuan McChicken. Yep, that's right. Szechuan. Both an extra kick. Sweet, yet spicy. Smooth, yet tangy. I'm getting hungry. It's one of 3 sandwiches at McDonald's Spicy McChicken Challenge. Back for a limited time. Get your hands on it before March 22nd to see if it gives you Spice Face at participating McDonald's.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
With snow around the GTA, -4 feels like -9. Good afternoon, I'm James Monroe.
I'm Janet Timinzik. Here are the top stories right now.
We have breaking news from NASA. The Mars rover left the Earth in July. Moments ago, it popped its parachute.
Touchdown confirmed.
It has safely touched down on the surface of the red planet, and who knows what it will find. Back down here in Terra Firma, Environment Canada with a winter weather travel advisory. A lake effect snow band making for a slippery drive. We're out and about checking conditions. The snow expected to last into the evening.
Sky 460 Sports.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, here's Alex.
Well, James, the Blue Jays have committed to playing at least their first 2 homestands at TD Ballpark in Dunedin. Here's President Mark Shapiro.
Circumstances and situation had not changed enough to warrant us making a formal ask for the Blue Jays to begin their season in Toronto. It doesn't diminish from our desire to be in Canada and in Toronto, but I think it acknowledges that that's not just a realistic possibility right now with the circumstances being what they are and the border obviously still being closed.
And Shapiro says a Florida, Buffalo, Toronto combination is possible this season. Meanwhile, Jays manager Charlie Montoyo just saying that Lourdes Gurriel Jr. will get some reps this spring at first and third base. Michael Hutchinson could make his first start of the season tonight when the Leafs and Sens conclude their 3-game series. We have it at 7 o'clock on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry is on the injury report for tonight's game against the Bucks, but it's not the ankle. He sprained his left thumb during the first quarter on Tuesday, and he is questionable. Tip-off at 7:30. And the Philadelphia Eagles are trading quarterback Carson Wentz to the Colts in exchange for a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 conditional second-rounder. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
First, your disability insurer denies your long-term disability claim, and then your employer threatens to fire you if you don't return to work. Sound familiar? My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your disability insurer denies your disability claim for any reason, or if your employer threatens to fire you because you're too sick to work, call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about up for legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, we only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at pound LTD.
If there's one vehicle made for winter in Canada, it's a Subaru. Rain, sleet, or snow, symmetrical all-wheel drive works full-time to give you all the traction you need to be safe on the road. And with safety protocols in place, shopping for a Subaru at Subaru of Maple is as safe as driving one. Book an appointment and bring on winter safely at SubaruofMaple.com. Right now, get rates from 0.5% or cash savings up to $3,000 on remaining 2020 Subarus. Subaru of Maple, in the Maple Auto Mall, part of our Ferry Automotive.
This is 680 News. Police have made an arrest in connection with the shooting last week of a 14-year-old girl. 17-year-old boy faces 9 charges, including possession of a firearm, careless storage of a firearm, and the reckless discharge. It's alleged that he and the victim were with a group of young people inside an apartment on Stone Court near Jane when the gun went off. It's also alleged the suspect and other people in the apartment took off. The 14-year-old girl shot in the head remains in hospital in stable condition. Police described her injuries as life-altering. A meeting to approve the city's operating budget happened, with City Council okaying a property tax increase.
How much to raise property taxes is an annual feisty debate at Toronto City Hall. But this year, because of the burden created by the pandemic, Mayor Tory, who has long held the belief that property taxes should not be raised by more than the rate of inflation, is standing by that stance more than ever.
The budget also recognizes that individuals and businesses simply can't afford significant tax increases at this point in the pandemic and should not be asked to absorb tax increases of that magnitude.
City Council voting 20-3 in favor of a 0.7% increase to property taxes. That's the lowest increase in Mayor Tory's time in office. Once you add in the city building levy, that works out to an additional $69 a year for the average Toronto household. Councillor Borkhurst did try to get the budget sent back to staff so they could include some changes to universal child care and emergency housing, but that was defeated. I'm Omen Qureshi.
Traffic and weather next. 680 News Time, 420.
Food deliveries, online shopping, and homeschooling.
Mom, I can't log in.
It never ends. We're juggling mortgage and credit cards, all without Tim's income. You wonder how we do it? We don't. We can't afford the payments. Somebody help us.
New BRAWL will help. Use low interest rates and the rising equity in your home to refinance your mortgage and save thousands.
Use your home to get a loan.
Then goes from provincial update to like 60 seconds before it starts.
I'm so over this. I don't even know anyone who's had COVID-19. And it's not like I'm at risk. We don't see many people, just a few neighbors and close friends. It's fine. We wear a mask and everything. We're really careful.
And everything.
Excuses won't stop the spread of the deadly COVID-19 virus. Until we all get the vaccine, stay home as much as possible. Visit Ontario.ca/COVID-19 for more information. Paid for by the Government of Ontario. 680 News Time, 421.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Carolyn Donahue.
This report is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Durham. We have a number of issues right now on the 401, specifically westbound right now on the 401, approaching Morningside at the collectors. That issue has cleared. West of Markham Road in the Express, we still have a right lane and right shoulder block to the stalled transport truck. That's causing heavy delays from Nielsen Express to West of Markham Road. Then it slows down from the 404 to 427, alternately Express collectors, and through Mississauga, slow going Mavis Express collectors to approaching Mississauga Road. And it looks like we have a collision approaching Guelph line, just causing delays from west of Trafalgar to that area. Eastbound on the 401, we have delays from east of Highway 25 to 407, then from Winston Churchill to east of Mississauga Road, and we have an issue east of Bayview in the Express, blocking a left lane. That is due to a collision. It's causing heavy backup from the 427 alternately Express collectors out to east of Bayview. Then we have delays somewhat through the Scarborough-Markham area, DVP to Kennedy, Meadowvale to east of Port Union, and in the Durham region, it's slow from Brock Road to Brock Street. On the northbound DVP, leaving the city very jammed up right now from the Gardner all the way to York.
Boston and Chicago. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, it's Anthony Fury. Peter Tappins, the Sound and the Fury, every Thursday in hour 2. And Anthony, having just penned a piece, Toronto's top doc keeps the city locked down with fearful rhetoric. He feels she's being unnecessarily alarmist. This is Eileen Davila. The mayor echoing that sentiment, as I was saying prior to the break, that this is now being placed under consideration by, well,
the Chief Medical Officer of Health of Ontario. For one, Dr. David Williams and all the rest of the people at this health table at the legislature. He's going to come up with his judgment tomorrow, I guess, taking these things under advisement. But Toronto can unilaterally go in that direction, and Doug Ford almost intimated that earlier today, saying he would defer to the medical health experts, of which, of course, Davila is one. Be that as it may, it's not rested well with everyone. We've heard from a lot of business people who want to open up. They're desperate to open up, despite the wild card being the variants now. But then the problem arises as well with Toronto, Peel, and York in lockdown. And if we were to extend until the 9th of March, what about neighboring precincts? Halton, you might have Simcoe South, and then you've got Durham as well, which is where we find the mayor of Pickering. He's not too impressed that Torontonians would be visiting his city while we're in lockdown. As we know, people tend to migrate.
You're fucking down, bro.
In July, and this afternoon, it touched down safely on the surface of the Red Planet. And who knows what it will find. And Environment Canada with a winter weather travel advisory. Lake effect snowband making its way through the GTA. All that straight ahead.
Mom's accident was pretty serious.
That was scary.
But now?
She's better. She laughs at my jokes again.
And tells you to do your homework.
She's more like the old mom every day.
Serious accidents wreak havoc on your family. Michael Lamont, Personal Injury Law, will help get your life back on track. Your recovery starts at lamontlaw.ca.
I'm Michael Lamont. Personal injury is all we do.
Resolving personal injury cases for over 40 years. Lamont Law. Experience, trust, compassion.
The big story.
I'm your host, Papa Sayed. A year ago, BC RCMP raided Wet Sweat and Camps. What's happened since? Listen at the Big Story Podcast.ca or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is All News Radio 680 News. This portion of the news is brought to you by Prudent Financial. In 60 seconds, it's Richie's Wide World Business. 680 News Time, 425.
Your roof sprung a leak. Water came through, shorted out the furnace, the radiator too.
When you need money fast, Prudent Financial has been your best bank alternative since 1984.
If you need money in a hurry, PrudentFinancial.net. Get money quick, just one click. PrudentFinancial.net.
In a consumer proposal or in a bankruptcy and not discharged, we can still help. Car or homeowners get approved. Borrow up to $75,000 in less than an hour.
PrudentFinancial.net.
It's the Ram 4x4 Winter event. How about a more dramatic name? Like the Ram Winter Doesn't Stand a Chance event. With big discounts on Ram trucks. So, that's a no. Get 20% off MSRP with up to $12,950 in total discounts. Wow, discounts that big, doesn't matter what you call it. Plus $3,000 in loyalty cash for select owners. Okay, now you're just showing off. See your Ram dealer for details.
680 News Time, 426.
Now, the 680 Business Report, Richard Southern.
James, I think it's the most interesting corporate story of the week, that regarding 7-Eleven, the convenience store chain, applying for liquor licenses, looking to sell booze in its Ontario convenience stores. They actually want to sell beer and wine for you to drink in the store itself. It came to light today.
The video games and I'll consider it.
Met with the chief operating officer of 7-Eleven. Went for a trip to Irving, Texas in February of last year. This previously wasn't disclosed, but Premier Ford telling us this afternoon that yes, indeed, he did take that meeting with 7-Eleven executives.
Well, when we went there, we were in Texas, and I'll meet with all sorts of different companies. Had an opportunity to meet 7-Eleven. They want to expand here in Ontario, right across Canada. I encourage 7-Eleven, please come and expand here in Ontario.
When asked about the liquor license application, Premier Ford says that's going to be up to the Alcohol and Gaming Commission.
And that's going to be up to them, AGCO, to do that. But we want to have convenience for the people here in Ontario. Our ultimate goal, is to have more convenience and choice for the people. If they want to go and pick a six-pack up somewhere, that would be great.
Right, continue to follow that story. On to the markets now. We're the penultimate trading day of the week. That didn't go so well. We saw some rising all around for the stock benchmarks. The TSX closing lower by 100 points, or 0.5% at 18,274. When we look at the leading decliners, we do see some cannabis names on the list. Canopy Grove down 10.3% to $46.29. And Freya down 6.6%. $24.30. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 119 points. The S&P fell 17 points. And the NASDAQ was down 100. We found out that applications for U.S. unemployment benefits rose more than expected last week. So that kind of cast a bit of a shadow over the trading day. U.S. bond yields continuing to rise as well, and that makes equities look less attractive. North America's first Bitcoin exchange-traded fund began trading on Bay Street today. It's called the Purpose Bitcoin ETF. The Canadian dollar-denominated non-hedged version trades under the ticker symbol BTCC.B. It moved a little bit lower today, down to $10.09 as the price of Bitcoin did decline. We have Bitcoin right now just about 52,000 US dollars. The Canadian dollar is up 78.87 cents US. The top story seconds away right here on 680 News.
Look, nothing beats a quarter pounder, no onion, extra pickles, and ketchup. But ordering one can be a mouthful. With the McDonald's app, I don't have to say quarter pounder, no onion, extra pickles, and ketchup. I just save my order in the McDonald's app and reorder at the push of a button. Now, whenever a craving hits, I just tap my saved order in the app and use McDonald's app. It is a lifesaver and a breath saver. Curbside service available at participating restaurants in Canada. Hours vary.
It was an exciting night for Nissan at the award season sales event.
One lucky driver took home best-in-class fuel economy in the Nissan Kick.
I just want to thank Intelligent Emergency Braking for giving me my big break, and Zero Gravity Seats for always supporting me.
Finance and Kicks ads from the equivalent of $59 weekly at 0% for up to 84 months. Or get up to $3,000 standard rate finance cash on other Kicks models.
Nissan.ca or contact your Nissan dealer. Excludes EV and hybrid vehicles. $254 monthly. Selling price is $21,358. Conditions apply.
So we have an active weather system moving through the Area Environment Canada with winter weather travel advisory. This evening, cloudy with snow, -5. Overnight, cloudy with snow, -6. Tomorrow morning, cloudy with flurries, -4. Tomorrow afternoon, clouds, and -2. We have snow around the G.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, the 18th of February. I'm Sljana Tominzik.
And I'm James Monroe. Here's what you need to know.
Traffic alert eastbound 403 approaching Erin Mills. 2 right lanes are blocked. A full traffic report is seconds away.
NASA's latest rover has successfully landed